the defending Super Bowl champs went down. And they go down to the Denver Broncos, and we'll talk about the Broncos in a second. But we linger on the defending Super Bowl champions that can't seem to put a full, complete game together. You take a look at their opening night win. There was that weather delay that kind of threw the Dallas Cowboys off. Had the Cowboys caught one, from CeeDee Lamb, they might have won that one. And you know what? I did just start by saying you can't denigrate a win in the National Football League, so I won't do so. Bottom line is the Eagles were 4-0. They earned every last one of them, and they were playing games where they were making the most of a team's mistakes and beating you with it. That's the earmark of a defending Super Bowl champion. And in the first 3 quarters of the game in Philadelphia, the Broncos were making mistakes. They were not playing clean football. They were playing good defensive football, and they were stopping the run, but they weren't stopping the pass. And as a matter of fact, the Philadelphia Eagles were up 17-3 in this game, entering the fourth quarter. That's usually all she wrote. But then something happened. Bo Nix started happening. Cortland Sutton started happening. J.K. Dobbins started happening. R.J. Harvey started happening. The defense started happening even better. And an 18-0 fourth quarter by the Denver Broncos left the Philadelphia Eagles with their first loss of the season, and everyone wondering what is up with this offense. It's kind of crazy that the entire week is spent talking about A.J. Brown's Bible verse and what it meant and how pissed he might have been, and then you hear a report on Sunday that Devontae Smith is just as upset, and A.J. Brown met with the coach and the general manager to air things out personally, and yada, yada, yada. The two of them together get 18 targets for 13 catches and 147 yards in the air. Devontae Smith with a season-high 114 yards. A.J. Brown just 43 of them. Jalen Hurts didn't run a lick. Neither did Saquon Barkley. The two of them together, that's crazy. The two of them together had 8 carries. Jeez. That's it. 8 carries. Sometimes the Eagles on a long drive just to take some air out of the ball and some time off the clock, the two of them might combine for 8 carries in a single drive. And they only had it in a game. Saquon ripped one off for 17 yards. That's all he had. He did have the 47-yarder in the air to score. So the passing game, everyone's saying, what's wrong with the passing game? Then the passing game shows up and is pretty darn good. Now everyone's wondering what's going on with the running game.
Yeah.
And at the end of the game, stuff happened that didn't go their way. At the very end, they didn't get a call, and they didn't get a Hail Mary coming down in the arms of A.J. Brown, potentially because he was wearing Devontae Smith at the time. So you got 2 Eagles basically lined up to catch the ball, one on top of the other, surrounded by Denver Broncos. And that's the way Nick Sirianni strolled to the podium to talk about what's potentially wrong about a Super Bowl team that's 4-1.
I think that the guys have worked extremely hard in preparation. I see the same hunger that was there prior to us winning the Super Bowl. So I don't think it's anything like that. Again, just the name of this game is always going to come down to detail and as far as us as coaches and players, we weren't detailed enough today, and they were a little more detailed than us. And it's a good football team. Hats off to them. Coach Payton's obviously a really good coach, and a lot of respect for that opponent.
So attention to detail. Let's drill down on this because this is now the parsing you're going to be hearing in Philadelphia and maybe nationally throughout the week. Jalen Hurts, I think, put his finger on it multiple times in this particular soundbite at his podium afterwards.
What's contributed to the start offensively and then stall?
Lack of execution.
You said some things don't get you until they get you. From your perspective, what got you today?
Lack of execution.
So let me write that down.
Yeah.
What do you say? Lack of execution.
Yeah, the lack of an execution.
Well, we also heard from Mailata, one of the offensive linemen, throughout the last week or two. They're getting the plays in late from offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo, or they're coming in and Jalen's not breaking the huddle quickly enough. Nobody's really pointing a finger exactly at anybody in particular, but I'm sure it's going to be pointed at the offensive coordinator. This was Sirianni on that subject matter.
No, again, there's so many things that go into that. I feel like I didn't feel, obviously we had the one that was a huge one on fourth down, where we got up and kind of snapped it on one. A lot of things that go into that. Again, we're doing everything we can do to, find solutions, not assign blame. And we're a team, we're together. So it's always going to be an us thing.
Okay. Note to everybody in Philadelphia, no finger pointing within that building. It's incredible. Is it? I guess it's a Philly thing. Every single year that they constantly win, maybe even a Super Bowl last year, it was a conversation. What's going on in that locker room? Can Sirianni bring everyone together? And then they have a parade where the only blood that you see is on the forehead of the general manager. He takes the beer off the dome. You know what I mean? So I'll just say this. Week 5. Can't win them all. On top of it, in terms of getting things executed and getting things buttoned up. Negative is it's a short week. They've got a Thursday night game next up. The positive thing is it's against a Giants team that turned it over 5 consecutive possessions in New Orleans against a winless Saints team. And then they go to Minnesota. That will be J.J. McCarthy's first game back as the starting quarterback of the Vikings, apparently, unless he's still not ready, or Kevin O'Connell wants to give a revenge game start as a thank you to getting us through the 4 games, as it would be, without J.J. McCarthy.
That's what I was wanting to ask
to
you.
Carson Wentz.
Confirmed?
I think it's all expected, as they use that phrase here, that J.J. McCarthy will be back after a bye week. Carson Wentz having won 2 of 3 as the starter. And then they're home against the Giants before a bye week. And that's the whole point here. They've got 3 games over a span of 17 days to get all the execution stuff down and buttoned up with a bye week on top of it to get healthy, because if you pop that schedule up one more time, that's the meat of the order, if you will. At Green Bay, home for Detroit, at Dallas, home for Chicago, at the Chargers before they have the Vegas Raiders, who are having their problems right now, stroll into town. Then they finish up with 3 massive ones. A home and home against Washington, wrapped around a visit to Buffalo. In what I do believe, let me get this correct, is in fact, no, it is not. It's the second to last game in that old building. So there's tough games ahead, winnable games ahead for them to get ready to win the tough games. And more than enough time for them to put full games together. And then more than enough time to maybe not lose some games and everyone have their hair on fire and point the finger at the offensive coordinator. And the head coach is like, it's all hunky-dory here. Look elsewhere. Look elsewhere. But that's what happens when you lose one at home. Certainly when you have it in hand at 17-3 and then you lose the fourth quarter 18-0 in the game. Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.